us get going. These are all exam questions that I have found. Okay, some of them I've made for my own learners. Some so nice as to share with us here. All right, guys, let's get going. So the first one says, tickets for a dance cost 250 Rand for a couple and 150 for a single person or person who is alone. Okay. Now, twice as many couple tickets were sold as single tickets. An X amount of single tickets were sold. The total income from the sale was 65,000 Rands. Now, we need to set up some sort of equation here. Okay, so we're working with two things. We're working with the amount of tickets and we're working with the price of tickets. Are we with me? So let's do that. Let's set up a nice equation over here, separating them so that we know what we're talking about as we are going. So this is for number one, and my pen has decided to go haywire. So I'm going to move this a little closer to me. There we go. All right, let's see. So for, I'm going to write here couple and single. So for amount, we've been told that there are X single people for amount, well, single tickets sold. And if they say twice as many couple tickets were sold as single, if single is X, then what will couple be if it has twice that amount of single, guys? What do we think? What do we think here? I need you guys to weigh in. If they say there were twice as many couple tickets sold as single tickets, and we've been told that single tickets is X, then what is twice of X? It is 2X. Does it make sense? Be careful, Dumi, that's the price. Remember I said we're dealing with amount and price. So amount is 2X, but the price is these ones at the top here. So those are two separate variables that we're working with here. All right. So if I have X single tickets and twice as many couple tickets were sold, then that means I have 2X couple tickets, right? And then for the, maybe I should write here, this is the amount of tickets sold. And then the price, as we were told, one couple ticket is 250 Rands and a single one is 150 Rands. Now we need to set up an equation where all of these tickets will amount to 65,000 Rands. Okay, now let's check. If 2X couple tickets were sold and one of them was 250, then in total for couples, that means 2X times 250 was sold. Are you with me, guys? Can I have some sort of indication that you understand what I am saying? If there were 2X tickets and one ticket costs 250, that means the amount of money in total that they made was 2X times 250 because that's how many were sold. Okay. Similarly, or in the same way, this was couples and for singles. If there were X tickets sold and one of them is 150, then the total amount they got from from singles tickets was X times 150. Are we with me? So if we're going to make an equation to calculate X, that means 150 times X plus 250 times 2X, which is actually 500X, equals 65,000 Rands. All right. It's all right, Linomta. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. So, are we with me, guys? 150 tickets, price, and X of them sold. So in total, how much did you make from singles? X times 150. For couples, 2x times 250. So in total, it is 500x because you have to say 250 times 2x. Okay. Now we have like terms over here. So let's solve that. What is 150x plus 500x? What is 150x plus 500x? Let's hear, guys. 150x plus 500x. Thank you. That it will be 650x is equal to 65,000. And be careful not to continue because all A said was set up an equation. They didn't say solve for x. They said set up an equation. All right. So for A, or for number 1, we're technically done. Because number 2 says, using that equation that you've set up, find out how many tickets were sold. Single tickets. And remember, single tickets were x. So if I solve for this x, I'll be able to know exactly how many single tickets were sold. So our equation said 650x is equal to 65,000. How am I going to get rid of that x? The 650, excuse me. I want this x to be alone here. So how am I going to get rid of that 650? Nice. I'm going to divide both sides by 650. Divide by 650. These will cancel out. And what is my answer for x? Therefore, x is equal to, let's see, 100. So there were 100 single tickets sold. And based on the single tickets that are x, we know that couples tickets are 2x, right? So if there were 100 single tickets sold, how many couples tickets were sold? Look at the equations. Couples tickets were twice as many as singles tickets. And we just found that we sold 100 single tickets. That means how many couples tickets did I sell? Look carefully, guys. Thank you, Ronnie. That means it's 200 because it is 2x. All right. And we're going to need that for the third question. Because the third question says, how many people attended the dance all together? Okay, so we know we have 100 single people. But now there's a trick with the couples tickets. What's the trick, guys? What's the trick with couples tickets? What does a couple mean? What does couple mean? How many people are attending? If I say to you a couple, then how many people are attending? 2 people, right? 2 people are attending. And I know that I sold 200 couple tickets. Are we with me? So if I sold 200 couple tickets, how many people attended? 1 couple ticket has 2 people. Okay? So then 200 couple tickets have how many people? This here indicates that this ticket is for 2 people. Beautiful. Now, that means for this 200 couples tickets, there are 400 people that attended. So in total, we had 100 single people plus the 400 from the couples tickets, which means in total 500 people attended the dance. Okay, how are we feeling about that one? It's definitely an exam question. So I'm going to go down here and say you guys must try out our reactions. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Do we all understand what just happened here? Oh, the thumbs up floats on my screen. Okay, that's new. We love it. Hectic. There we go. I also sent my own. All right, guys. All right. Wonderful. Okay. As long as you guys understand this question. All right. So let me zoom out for anyone who wants to take a screenshot. If you have a question, now is the time to ask. If anyone is here for the first time today, if you don't understand, you need to send one of these reactions. Okay, so you go to the bottom at the little face. Give me one of these if you understand, or one of these if you don't understand. Don't be shy. We're all here to learn. So if you don't understand, just be honest and give me a thumbs down so I can help you. All right, guys. Okay, let's continue. 3 friends have 1,400 rands in total. All right. Tina has X rands. Simone has 200 rand more than Tina. And Tom has twice as much as Simone, not as Tina. Okay. So the first thing here that you could do to help yourself, that will help you solve such problems, is to set up, what did I say? A little bit of a information sheet. Okay. So I know Tina has X rands. Great. Simone has 200 rands more than Tina. So what does Simone have, guys? Based on the X that I wrote there for Tina, Simone has 200 rands more than Tina. She doesn't have 200 rands. She has 200 rands more than Tina. Do you understand the difference? So does anyone have a suggestion about how we would set up what Simone has as an expression? It's not 200x. What does more than have? If I say I have more than, there we go, it's plus. Okay, it's plus. So it's going to be what Tina has plus 200. Are we with me, guys? 200x would it be if I said to you, Simone has 200 times what Tina has. Makes sense? But if I say more than, if someone has 2 apples and I have 3 more than them, then that means I have 5. I don't have 6, right? We don't multiply, we add. I hope you guys are with me. Great. And then Tom has twice as much as Simone. So let's set up Tom's equation here. Twice as much as Simone. So don't get into the trap about using Tina's amount. What equation could we set up, or expression rather, for Tom's amount? Anybody? Try, guys, even if you're not sure. Tom has twice as much as Simone, and we just established that Simone has X plus 200, right? So how would I set that up? You are almost there, but you're missing one crucial thing in your equation, and that is what? Twice X plus 200. You need to put brackets because we're going to need to distribute this too. Do you see that? So that's the only mistake. But Tom has twice Simone's full amount. Okay. Great. And then we know that in total, they have 1,400 rands. Great. And then the question is, how much money do they each have? So let's get going. So then I can say Tina's amount plus Simone's amount, 200, plus Tom's amount, plus 200, is equal to 1,400. That is my equation, right? So let's take a look at this equation. Before I do anything, this 2 out the bracket is bothering me. So as I said, we have to distribute it because it is in, well, it is outside a bracket. So it is X plus 200 plus 2 times X, which is 2 times X. That is just 2X, which is 2 times X, plus 2 times 200, which is going to give us what? 2 times 200. What is that going to give us? Come on, guys. I know you know it. Plus 400. And that gives us 1,400. Thank you. All right, so now we have an equation set up and we need to solve for x. So the first thing we need to do here is find our like terms. I have an x, and a 2x. So what is x plus 2x going to give us? X plus 2x. What is that going to give us? Thank you. That is 4x plus 200 plus 400. That is 600 equals 1,400. Now, if we're going to solve for x, we need to get this x on its own. What is the first thing we're going to get rid of on my left-hand side to get x on its own? The first thing on the left-hand side that we have to get rid of to get x on its own. There are two things on the left that we're going to have to get rid of. What is the first one? That is the 600. Beautiful. Now, 600, we're going to do our inverse operations, which basically means my 600 will go over. Then I'm going to be left with 4x. What happens to the 600 when it goes over to the other side? When the 600 goes over to the other side, what happens? Nice. No, it becomes negative. So it'll be 1,400 minus 600. And what is 1,400 minus 600? 1,400 minus 600. That is 800. Then we have to get rid of my 4. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4. Divide by 4. These x's on my left-hand side will divide into one another. Therefore, my x is, what is 800 divided by 4? 200. Are we done answering after we get this 200, guys? Are we done answering the question? Are we done answering the question? No, because what did they ask for? They didn't ask for x, they asked for everybody's amount. Everyone. So Tina was just x, right? So that means Tina has 200 bucks. Okay. And then let's move on to Simone. How much money does Simone have? The x, which is 200, plus another 200. So Simone has 400. All right. And then Tom had twice the amount of Simone. So it was 2 times the 400, which is 800. Do these all add up to 1,400? Do these all add up to 1,400? My amounts, they have to add up to 1,400. Otherwise, we have made a mistake. Okay, guys. Are we with me? Let me zoom out if anyone wants to take a screenshot. There we go. Can we have a thumbs up, thumbs down on this one? How did we feel about this question? Wonderful. I only have 2 reactions out of 7 participants. All right. Okay, let's get moving. Okay, these are the typical solve for x problems that you would find in an exam. The ones you'd find at like level, well, question 2, 3, maybe, like, the beginning of the paper. So let's see how we will tackle these ones. It says solve for the following equations. Solve means at the end you must have an answer for x. So x equals something. Okay, maybe let me number these. All right, now let's look. First one, I have 3 times x minus 1 equals 2x plus 5. Okay, our first problem is that our x's are on different sides. So we want this x to be on the same side. But what is my problem on the left-hand side? Why can't I just move that x to my other side? What is the problem on the left-hand side? Let's look carefully. The problem is that, thank you, Dumi and Linomta, thank you guys. We have brackets. Those brackets are a problem. Okay, so I'm going to take this 3 and distribute it into the brackets. Then I'm going to have 3 times x, which is 3x, and 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. And this is still equal to 2x plus 5. Great, I've solved my bracket problem. Now what? What problem do we have now? What problem do we have now? I always say get x on its own, but that is very difficult at this moment because our x's are on opposite sides. So get all the x's on one side and all the numbers on the other side. So let us do so. So 3x, I'm going to keep it this side, but I'm going to move my 2x to the left-hand side. And what is my sign for the 2x when I move it to the left-hand side? What will my sign for 2x be once I move it to the left-hand side? Negative 2x, that is true. Okay. So then I have 3x minus 2x is equal to 5 was already there, but I am moving 3 because it doesn't have x attached to it. Okay, it's not a like term. And if 3 goes over, it'll be 5 plus 3. Now tell me, what is 3x minus 2x? 3x minus 2x. What is that going to give us? Just x. So there actually isn't more steps after this. Therefore, x is equal to 5 plus 3, which is 8. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, let's look at B. B is a bunch of algebraic fractions. So what do you guys think we're going to do here to solve this problem? 2x plus 7 divided by 6 plus Great. What do you think we're going to do with B? I have 2 fractions that I'm adding. Equals 0. So we're going to find the lowest common, not multiple, but lowest common what? Someone raised their hand and then disappeared. Thank you, lowest common denominator. And what is my lowest common denominator? Between 6 and 3. Remember, lowest common denominator speaks about multiples, right? Is 6. There we go. There we go. Okay, we're not speaking about factors, we're speaking about multiples. So our lowest common denominator in this case is 6. So I'm going to write it down. All right, so once we find that, we're going to go multiply everyone by 6 times 6 times a 6. Everyone, even the one after the equal sign, okay? It won't always be 0. This time we're just lucky that it is a 0, but it won't always be 0. So if you're multiplying by anything, you multiply everywhere, including on the right-hand side. Okay, great. Now what's going to happen with these 6's over here on the first term? I have a 2x plus 7 divided by 6 times by 6. They cancel out. Beautiful. This and this one. Great. Here, we're going to do some sort of cancellation, but there's going to be some sort of remainder. How many times this 3 goes into itself? Once, and into 6 twice. Okay, and on my right hand side I have a 0 times 6. What is 0 times 6? It's just 0. So my new equation then will be 2x plus 7 plus, I'm going to move this 2 to the front so that it looks less sloppy, and an x minus 5. Remember, you put brackets because there's more than one term here. If it was just one term, then you would just multiply it, but there's 2 terms, so you put brackets around it. And this is equal to 6. Once again, we have a problem with brackets. And how do I get rid of those brackets? What is my favorite word? Starts with a D. How are we going to solve those problems? There we go. We're going to distribute. So we take, there we go, 2 multiplied by x and multiplied by -5. So I'm just going to rewrite everything I'm not working with here. Plus 2 times x is just 2x. What is 2 times -5? -10. Great. Minus 10 is equal to 6. Great. And then we look at our like terms. So I have a 2x and a 2x. And then I also have on my left-hand side a 7 and a minus 10. So 2x plus 2x is 4x. What is 7 minus 10? 7 minus 10 is -3. So I have here is equal to 0. 0. Guys, where did I get that 6? 0 times 6 is 0. Woo. Okay. Equals 0. That's better. All right. Now, I'm going to get rid of this 3 because I don't want it on the same side as my x. And when 3 goes over, what sign will 3 have? When 3 goes over, it will have a positive. So then I will have 4x is equal to 3. And how do I get rid of my 4 in front of the x? My 4, I divide by 4 on both sides. Great. These two will cancel each other out. Therefore, x is equal to 3/4. Okay, are we happy with those? I'm going to put A and B up for screenshots before we do C and D. C and D are more than slightly different. We'll see now what the difference is between those two. All right, guys. Let's see. C says x squared is equal to 25. X squared is equal to 25. How are we going to solve this? Let's hear your ideas. X squared equals 25. There are 2 ways to solve this. Let's see if you guys can find both ways we can solve this problem. How do we solve this, guys? I think I have a hand. Okay, I'm gonna do this. You can unmute. I saw a hand. We can square root both sides, but what happens when we square root both sides? What do we need to remember? You have permission to unmute yourself if you'd like. What do we need to remember when we square root both sides, guys? Let me do it, and then let's see if you guys catch on. So if I square root both sides, what is my answer? I see you've caught on. There are two solutions to this. Do you guys remember? There are two solutions for x squared equals 25, and we'll talk about it just now. So now we have a new suggestion to do difference of two squares, which means I need to move my 25 over to that side. Then I'll be left with x squared minus 25 is equal to 0. Then I have two brackets. What will be in my two brackets? Tell me what's in my two brackets. X and X. Wonderful. And then there we go. That's better. X and X. What is my factors for 25? Nice. -5 and +5. Great. Now I have two factors equal to 0, so I can split it up. So I say either x plus 5 is equal to 0, or I'm pretty sure I said plus and wrote minus. So either x minus 5 is equal to 0, or x plus 5 is equal to 0. What is the solution for the first one? X minus 5 equals 0. Remember, our -5 needs to go over to that side. And what's going to happen when we do that? There we go. First solution is, therefore, x is equal to +5. Or, when I move my +5 over, my second solution is x is equal to -5. Wonderful. Now, you were not wrong when you said we must square root both sides, okay? You must just remember that I said if you introduce a square root to a question, so this original question didn't have a square root, right? So if you introduce a square root, then you need to remember that on your number side, you say plus or minus. Otherwise, you lose your second solution, because then you'll say, therefore, x is equal to +5, or x is equal to -5. And those who are confused about the negative answer, just think about if you square a negative number. This means -5 times -5, and two negatives will give you a +25. That's why square root answers always have two solutions. All right. Wonderful. And then let's look at D. D says 2 to the power of x is equal to 32. I should write it at the bottom probably, as to not confuse everyone. 2 to the power of x is equal to 32. Okay, what do we want to do here? What do we want to do with this question? I have this time, the difference between the one we just did and this one is that my variable is in the exponent. Beautiful. We want the same base on both sides. So if I have a base of 2 on my left-hand side, I want a base of 2 on my right-hand side. So how will I rewrite 32 with a base of 2? How do I rewrite 32 with a base of 2? Let's hear. Nice. 2 to the power of 5. Remember, calculator, you press 32, press equals, shift, and the button that says fact for factorize or factors, prime factors. That's the one that has these things. Okay, now my bases are the same. So what does that mean? My bases are the same. So that tells me that what? If I say 2 to the power of anything, some sort of number that I don't know, is the same as 2 to the power of 5. What does that number have to be? Thank you. Therefore, my x is equal to 5. Okay, guys, here are screenshots for C and D. Can I have a thumbs up, thumbs down on the whole question? A, B, C, and D. There we go. There we go. A lot of celebrating. Even a heart. Wow, guys, thank you. All right. Okay, let me get moving to the next ones. There was one that I wanted us to do. Okay, it's fine. I didn't put it here, I guess. So we'll have to do this one. Okay, does anybody know this formula? Has anyone seen this formula before? Has anybody seen this formula ever in their lives before? Let's see. It's okay if you haven't. I'm just curious to see who has. Nope. Okay, we haven't. Okay, if you're planning to take math next year, you will most definitely deal with this formula. Okay, so this is called the quadratic equation. And this is for if you have a trinomial that you cannot necessarily put into brackets. Okay, we'll get there just now what I'm talking about. But if you have a, you know, our methods of factorization, one of them is trinomial. So let me give you an example before we deal with that. If I have x squared plus 6x minus 4, is there any way that factors of 4 are going to give me a 6x in the middle? Any way at all? No. So this is where this guy comes in. Okay. So for now, all we know how to do is to make two factors, equate them to 0, and then find our x. But if you have a trinomial that looks like this one, no matter what you do, you will not find factors of 4 that are going to give you 6. Okay, that only means that x is probably a fraction. That's what it means, okay? So it's confusing everybody. So don't worry about it. Today, we're just going to get introduced a little bit to this equation. You don't have to know it. You just need to apply what you do know to it. Okay. So the solutions of an equation in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 can be found using these two formulas. Now, these two formulas is actually one formula. I'll show you what I mean just now. Okay. Now, it says solve the equation using the 0 factor rule. The 0 factor rule means do what you've been doing. Factorize, find two brackets, make them equal to 0, find your answers. So that's what number 1 says. So let's get going solving that one. X squared plus 5x plus 6 equals 0. We already know this is a trinomial, so I'm going to open my two brackets and equal to 0. What is my factor? My first factors that give me x squared. My factors in the brackets that are going to give me x squared, x and x. Thank you. All right, what is my first symbol in the first bracket according to that one? Nice, we're already done. It's a positive, right? The first symbol is a plus. And that means that plus tells me that I'm going to keep the second one as well, which is also a plus. Okay. And we want factors that add up to 5, which is why we got a 3 and 2, because 3 times 2 is 6, and 3 plus 2 is 5. What do we do when we have our two factors? We can then split them up. So we say that means either x plus 3 is equal to 0 or x plus 2 is equal to 0. What is my solution for the first one? Solution for the first one, x is equal to negative 3. Or what is my solution for the second one? Or x is negative 2. Great, finished, done. Right? Now, let's use this formula. The reason I say you have to use both of them is because how many solutions did we have here? How many solutions did we have when we did the zero factor rule? We had 2, right? So if you only use one of these equations, you're going to lose one of your solutions. But there's only one tiny difference in these. Can anybody see what the tiny difference is? There's only one very small difference in these two equations. Nice. There's a positive there and there's a negative there. Beautiful. Great. Now let's identify A, B, and C, because A, B, and C is everything that's going into this formula. So in my equation, x squared plus 5x plus 6. What is A? If there's nothing in front of x here, then what is A? Because A is in front of x. Nice. If there's nothing there, then A is 1. What is B for my equation? For our specific equation, B is 5. And what is my C? C is positive 6. And once you have figured that out, my lovelies, you can just substitute. Let me show you. Okay, so let's do the first one. A is equal to negative B. B is 5, right? So that's negative 5 plus the square root of B squared, so 5 squared, minus 4 times 1 times 6, because it's 4AC, all divided by 2 times 1, which is A. Okay. And my second one will obviously be x is equal to negative 5, this time minus the square root of 5 squared, minus 4AC, all divided by 2A. Great, let's start with this one. Equals negative 5. What is 5 squared? 5 squared, 25. So 25 minus 4 times 1 times 6, which is 24. Divided by 2. Okay, and this is equal to negative 5 plus. What is 25 minus 24? 25 minus 24 is 1. So it's negative 5 plus the square root of 1, which is 1, divided by 2. And what is negative 1? Negative 5, excuse me, plus 1? Negative 5 plus 1 is negative 4. And negative 4 divided by 2, negative 2. Is that not one of our solutions that we got over here? Do we see, guys? That's the same solution we got. Great. Let's see if the second solution works. This is equal to negative 5 minus, we know this is 25 minus 24 over 2. This is mostly the same except that minus. So it's minus 1 over 2. So this time we have negative 5 minus 1. What's negative 5 minus 1? Negative 5 minus 1, that's negative 6. Beautiful. And negative 6 divided by 2, x is equal to negative 3. Is that not our second solution that we got here? Do you see, guys? So the nice thing about knowing this formula is if you are messing up factorizing, let's say you're trying to factorize and it's not working out, if you know this formula, you just find A, B, and C and plug it in. That's it. Okay. And the last one says use the formula to determine the factors for 2x squared plus x minus 1 equals 0. All right. Let's see. I'm going to start at the top over there. Negative b. What is b for this specific case? What is my b this time? So it's A, B, and C. So B, if there's nothing in front of my x, then that means B is what? There's nothing in front of x. In case you guys are confused, we are over here. So if there's nothing in front of the x, then B is 1. So this is negative 1 plus the square root of 1 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 1. All divided by 2 times 2. Okay? And this is equal to negative 1 plus 1 squared is just 1. What is 4 times 2 times negative 1? 4 times 2 times negative 1. Positive 8. Do you see that, guys? It's going to be positive 8 all over 4. This will be negative 1 plus the square root of 9, which is 3, over 4. What is negative 1 plus 3? Negative 1 plus 3. That is indeed 2 over 4, which I can simplify to a half. Do you see what I mean? So if your x is bound to be a fraction, then rather just use this formula. Okay. And if I look quickly at doing my second one, x is equal to negative 1 minus the square root of 1 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 1 over 2 times 2. So the numbers are going to be the same. The only difference in these two formulas are this minus and this plus over here. Okay. So, nope. I just said that's the difference and then I mess it up. 1 plus 8 over 4, which is negative 1 minus the square root of 3 over 4. What is negative 1 minus 3? Negative 1 minus 3, that's negative 4 divided by 4. Therefore, my second solution is negative 1. Okay, guys, I'm not sure if your teachers will introduce you to this formula this year. I highly doubt it, but at least you've been exposed to it. So